Go on, let's just get this over and done with. Reform UK sack election candidate who said that Scotland is like a turd that won't flush. Now, before we get into this, I'm friends with Sargon. I'm friends with a lot of the boys down at Lotus Eaters. There's a lot of anti-Scottish stuff that gets said down there. They shit all over Scotland all the time, just the same as I shit all over England all the time, because it's banter. The English and the Scots say mean things about each other. This is what happens. This is what we do. However, I don't hate them. I don't hate them and they don't hate me. We just like to make fun of each other because, a classic thing, especially on the British Isles, probably everywhere else, is the ability to make fun of people from other countries. It's what we do. The English and Scots have been doing it for a very long time. I do not care about the comments he made because I know that he didn't, mean them, right? He was just shitposting. That's what it was. Same as me with England. Fucking awful place. But anyway, Bodade also exclaimed that Scotland was like a boil that you have to keep lancing over and over again. A candidate in the right-wing party set by Nigel Farage has been sacked after claiming that Scotland is like a turd that won't flush. Bodade, who was set to stand for Reform UK, also derided the Scottish economy by saying smack is one of the country's exports. Right? We do have a very serious heroin problem, yeah. Very, very serious. It's very bad. Who's bringing all the heroin over? It's got even worse, by the way. Always had a big problem, but now there's heroin fucking everywhere. Who's bringing all the heroin over? Don't worry about it. Reform UK, led by Richard Tice, who is an absolute cuck. Reform UK is I thought, oh shit, maybe a possible, viable, actually right-wing alternative to the Tories. It's not. It's containment. It's containment. They're going to be browbeaten by the press into just becoming the Tories 2.0. Well, maybe the gays are fine, and maybe a little bit immigration. I give them 2 years before they get to that point. Said, I thought maybe, okay, possibly, but no, they're not. The anti-immigration party looks set to divide the right by taking votes off of the Conservatives. Divide the right, the Conservatives, right wing? No, they're not. Farage is its honorary president, but he is yet to declare if he will be a candidate this year. The spotlight is now on Reform's decision to select Dade as a candidate in Swindon South. In an online discussion on the Full English show, he said the Scottish economy is tiny anyway. I mean, what do they actually export? Iron brew and smack. Obviously, just being funny. I mean, seriously, it's a joke. Their population is tiny, isn't it? I mean, yeah. Because I can remember when I went over to America and they were going, oh, do you know this guy? Do you know this YouTuber? Do you know that YouTuber? And I was like, yeah, he actually stays down the road from me. Yeah, actually, his brother used to live with a guy I knew. Oh, yeah, it turns out, yeah, it's a tiny place. We all know each other, right? Sharp. I think Greater London has got a much, much bigger population, twice as big than the whole of Scotland. I mean, is it not like... I mean, the London population's fucking ridiculous. Is it not something like 20 million? Or maybe I'm over-exaggerating. Is it 20 million? I think. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But, I mean, yeah, London has a much bigger population, but not through births. He added, if you look historically, they are just like this. As far as the English are concerned, they are like a turd that won't flush. It's like a boil you have to keep lancing over and over again. It's sort of a joke, but it'd be funny if Westminster gave them their independence unilaterally. And later that day, you sent in the RAF parachute regiment to invade them entirely. And that's it. Put an end to any idea of sovereignty. You want the English to Padisha Emperor us? Is that what you want? Is that what you want? You give us Scotland and then you send in the Harkonnens? Is that what you want then? Fine. It's fine. We'll just fucking hide in the trees and paint our faces again and fucking send you packing. Planes can't bomb, they can't see. A spokesperson for Reform told the Record, we sacked him. It was brought to our attention and we acted quickly, unlike other parties. We don't want to be represented by someone like that. No, you do exactly what every other party does. You did that. You did that because a guy fucking memed on a country. Right, that's what you did. You're like, oh, this guy said something we didn't like, well, he's kicked out. Okay, what makes you different from any other party? Nothing. They all do that. Nick Lowe, CEO of Anti-Racist Hope Not Hate, fucking Soros-funded government-controlled group that is designed to basically destroy the lives of government dissidents. This has all been all but confirmed right? Their job is to stop people from going against the state. I hope not hate are a statist psyop. That's what they are. This has been known for a while. This has been known for a long time. Which uncovered his views, said his views are abhorrent. If Reform UK wants to avoid being labelled as far right, they should perhaps work harder at keeping the likes of Dade from their list of candidates. A member of Hope Not Hate actually made fun of me for being Scottish, by the way. Made fun of my accent. Made fun of my accent and made fun of the fact that I was Scottish. Shit, I forget the guy's name. Fuck, this was a long time ago. This is back when I was still hanging out with Tommy. But yeah, one of their guys actually did the exact same thing that this guy's doing. Made fun of me for being Scottish. He even did an impersonation of me and all that as well. But, I mean, I didn't care because it was just a guy memeing, and I don't give a fuck what Hope Not Hate thinks. And the reason I don't care is because, unlike other people, I'm not paid to care what Hope Not Hate thinks. But, yeah, they did the exact same thing. Labour MSP Paul O'Kane said, Dade's sacking is welcome news, but it is deeply concerning that the Reform Party ever entertained him as a candidate. His provocative and poisonous rhetoric has no place in our political discourse and has rightfully been identified and called out. Thankfully, Dade's own credibility and vitriolic bile has been flushed away because he made a bunch of jokes about Scotland. Lib Dem MP Christine Jardine said, this candidate is completely out of order. Let's ask all the opposition parties to say bad things about the other party. Yeah, of course they're fucking gonna. That's their job. That's what politics is in the modern day. They all get in the big room with the fancy chairs and all talk shit about each other. What's fucking new? People up and down the UK will be appalled at his far-right, anti-immigrant, anti-Scottish ramblings. I mean, I don't really give a fuck about them. Sargon said so much worse to me. He sits there in fucking Cromwell posts while I'm sitting with him at dinner. And everything, like if I do something like accidentally knock over the salt, he's like, typical Scots. Like, man, we can't even have a nice dinner without fucking like, because that's what we do. We all shit talk each other. I say horrible things about the English as well in front of them, and we all laugh. That's what we do. Nigel Farage and Richard Tice need to make clear that these types of views have no place in our politics and that they will not tolerate candidates who traffic in bonkers conspiracy theories and describe millions of British citizens as a foreign plague. Hope Not Hate also uncovered an article by Dade which called for millions of UK-based immigrants to be sent to their countries of origin. Wish he was still running. He wrote, the end game is to be in a position where it is possible to remigrate hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of people back to their countries of origin. This should be done without breaking the law, without shedding blood, and with as little disgrace for all involved as possible. Oh no, Mossad. I've grown an immunity to fox dye. Nice try, Ephraim. Use a bigger dosage next time. I think Mossad detected what I was thinking. He continued, all deportees should return to their country of origin, regardless of that country's human rights record. If a deportee refuses to disclose their country of origin, then they face perpetual imprisonment. They should not be allowed back into the general population of Britain. The reality of this policy will inevitably be messy, whole families crying and shrieking and being violent and destructive when they are being detained. This is just one more unfortunate horror which the leftists and globalists and traitors have forced upon us. Because, yeah, it's not a nice thing, it'd be a fucking terrible thing, but you know, you made it about survival, didn't you? In another online video, he said of the later Tory race baiter Enoch Powell, who strangely turned out, his Rivers of Blood speech turned out to be correct. Wasn't it? Even in the 1990s, you could point to Enoch Powell and say he had exaggerated a bit, hadn't he? And now you can say he undersold it. Referencing the Hope Not Hate investigation, Dade tweeted, and I stand by every word. Green MSP Maggie Chapman said, these comments are as dangerous as they are obscene. They are lifted straight out of the most extreme of far-right playbooks. No one who would say anything like this should ever be welcomed in any remotely respectable political party, let alone being chosen to stand for Westminster. Well then, Green MSP Maggie Chapman, you don't understand how democracy works, or at least, the lie that you sold us of how democracy is supposed to work. Democracy is supposed to be that anyone from any ideology in any walk of life is able to portray their politics to the wider population and use that to gain votes. You can't turn around and say, oh, only certain types of ideologies are allowed within democracy, because then that becomes a managed democracy, as Helldivers likes to say. That's a controlled democracy, and as soon as you control democracy, it's not democracy. Because you've got the same type of democracy as North Korea, where, oh yeah, we're a democracy, but everyone else is banned from taking part. Right? That's not democracy, it's fascism by another name. That's what it is. You are controlling the outcome of the government and giving the people no say. You're a fascist, Maggie, is what I'm trying to say. But anyway. What the fuck? That's me still scrolling. Because of these fucking adverts. Where's the rest of the bloody article? Jesus Christ, that's how far I had to scroll to get to the rest of it. Format your fucking website. If the Reform Party has even the slightest shred of concern about racism, then it will expel him immediately and explain why he was ever allowed to be selected in the first place. Reform also has to ask itself why someone who would say such horrific and racist things clearly felt so at home in that party. So basically, it's the same thing as well. Like, not everyone's demonising the Tories all the time, but the Tories are just liberalism driving the speed limit. But then Reform came in and went, we're going to be a real right-wing party, a real right-wing option for Britain, and everything, and then they're not. I give them 2 years and they will be indistinguishable from the Tories, right? They will basically say, we are against all of these things. 2 years later, okay, maybe we can have like a little of some of these things after Hope Not Hate and every other party browbeats them into towing the party line, because that's the way politics works in Britain. Like, you're allowed to join the system, you're allowed to hoover up as much money as you want, and you're allowed to pass as many draconian laws as you want, but as soon as you veer off script, that's when people start to get a little bit nervous about you. Like, the same thing happened to Joanna Cherry, the same thing happened, they've been trying to do it to Rees-Mogg for a good while now, they've been doing it to so many people. Right? You're allowed to go in and say, you know, the approved opinions that are allowed in your party, but as soon as you stray off script, that's when they start to get nervous and they want to see you removed. And we're at the point now where people are saying, oh, Reform UK should be banned because, like I said, it's like, oh, that's undemocratic. Don't you know that? Yes, they do know that. These people are totalitarians. You're arguing with a totalitarian about why they shouldn't be totalitarian. And they're not going to care about anything you say because they are totalitarians. They were raised with mummy and daddy giving them every single thing that they fucking wanted, and so they think that's how the world around them should work. My politics or else. In fact, I'm not even going to give you the option of having any other kind of politics. Remember when democracy was apparently created and introduced to prevent totalitarian regimes? Well, it turns out if you engineer enough fucking disasters and scare everybody enough, you can get them to vote themselves into one anyway. Yeah, democracy doesn't fucking work. But as for Bo's comments, fucking grow up. Genuinely. He made fun of Scotland. I'll fucking go cry about it and write about it in your blog. Right, go fucking cry about it. He made fun of me. Shut up. Shut up. I wish I was a teacher. He said this. Shut up, you little pussy. I wish I was a teacher. He called me fat. Have you tried not being fat? Fat mindless. I'd be an awful teacher. I'd be fired after 2 days. But anyway, yeah, I don't give a fuck about his comments because I've hung around with Sargon and all the Lotus Eaters, and me and Sargon have said horrific fucking shit about each other's nations long before the Reform Party was even a thing. Right? So, fucking cry about it.